Are we finally at a tipping point for AI art? Are we finally at that point where it's going into a realm that can finally see some sort of blowback and possibly political action? I really feel like that's the case. Yes, yesterday I seen on my feed a lot of AI generated art popping up in the style of Ghibli. Here recently, ChatGPT has a new update where people are putting it through this filter that makes it look like Ghibli art. And yes, at the time, I laughed at it. This one especially made me laugh. It's so perfect, I'm sorry. But yeah, a lot of people putting memes and whatnot and political figures through the filter and generating art that looks like Ghibli. And it looks really good. I mean, to be honest, I had a lot of fun looking at a lot of them. But unfortunately, as the internet does, people will beat the dead horse to get engagement. And I'm already sick of seeing it. Like all memes, I'm already sick of seeing it. But the other thing that kind of happened that was kind of surprising to me was a lot of people pushing back. More than ever with a lot of this AI stuff, I'm seeing more and more people pushing back and saying, this is disgusting. And I think it's really around the fact that, of course, Ghibli is a very beloved studio. Studio Ghibli is very beloved. People love it. It's their childhood for a lot of people. This is something they grew up with. They watched Princess Mononoke, Kiki's Delivery Service, Spirited Away, and they love them. These are these films that really just kind of became a part of a lot of people and was deep embedded into their hearts. And so yes, when people are seeing that people are mimicking Ghibli's art style, it's infuriating them. Everything else is like, whatever, not my problem. But suddenly with Ghibli, people are mad. People are pushing back. They're getting angry. And yes, unfortunately, along with that comes the most misquoted quote of Hayao Miyazaki ever. I really do believe that little documentary of Hayao Miyazaki is the most misquoted and misused quotes ever. Yes, I strongly feel that this is an insult to life itself. So there's a bunch of posts of people saying, this is what Hayao Miyazaki thinks of AI. I strongly feel that it's an insult to life itself. We are at end times. I am losing faith in humanity. It's massively misquoted, by the way. To give people the context with that whole documentary is this. At some point, he goes to this one company that is essentially using AI and CGI to produce a model. The model at the time that was being shown to Hayao Miyazaki was of this decrepit monster zombie thing that is moving around using whatever it can. And the idea there was that it's moving beyond human imagination. It's moving, because it doesn't have any feelings, it's moving with like its head. So it's using its head as a leg or whatever. And Hayao Miyazaki at the time, he's watching that and he's insulted. Why? Is because it reminded him of his friend. His friend who's disabled, who has a difficulty in even moving. He can't even raise his hand. He's seen his friend and it disturbed him. It made him feel bad. So he didn't like it. He was disgusted by it. It was creepy. It didn't look human. And thus, he didn't want to incorporate it. It had nothing to do with AI. Had nothing to do with artificial intelligence. It's the model that he's seen was disgusting to him. He didn't like it. This is a guy that's all about anti-war and stuff like that. Of course, he's not going to want to see a zombie flopping around the ground, and it reminds him of his friend. But either way, would Hayao Miyazaki like this? That's the question mark. And that's really the question mark that I'm posing. If Hayao Miyazaki sees this, what would he say? And I think we possibly might end up seeing this. And this is where I'm very interested. I'm going to be watching like a hawk to see if something comes of this. I think if Hayao Miyazaki sees this, or anybody that is, in ownership of Studio Ghibli and the properties, I think something might finally happen. Like I said before, I really do think like with a lot of other art, people just kind of shrug. Whatever, it's not my problem. But with Hayao Miyazaki's work and Studio Ghibli's works and their art style itself, which is very unique. I mean, you look at this and you immediately know this is Hayao Miyazaki. This is Studio Ghibli. This is all the other directors with that studio. This is their art style. You know immediately it's theirs. Suddenly it changes everything. And I really do think that Hayao Miyazaki and all those individuals will probably start to raise a fuss. I think this might actually cause this whole idea of AI generated art to really tip over. The question is, what direction? The first wave we're already seeing. People are not happy about this. People are pushing back. And yeah, there's a lot of counter to it. A lot of people saying, whatever, Ghibli and all other animation, they mimic other people's art as well. This is nothing new. Nothing's changing here. Everybody's inspired by something, and AI is inspired by Studio Ghibli right here. But a lot of people that I'm seeing are literally saying, don't do this. It's disgusting. This is disgusting. Don't touch their art. Because Ghibli is what people grew up with. This was their childhood. It embedded in their heart. These are films that are absolutely beloved. This isn't just a small sect of the anime fandom that most people won't defend. This isn't your ecchi show that has a censored version. Nobody's going to defend that. They don't care. But when it comes to Ghibli, that is their gold nugget. Don't touch this. And again, I think that second wave will probably be political. There's no doubt in my mind, Studio Ghibli, the people that own those properties, are going to raise a fuss about this. This is obviously, again, like I said earlier, this is obviously Studio Ghibli. You cannot look at this and tell me, oh, that kind of looks like something else. This is Studio Ghibli. And it's specifically a model that you tell it to mimic Studio Ghibli. You're telling the model, do it in Ghibli style. That's obvious. It's super obvious, and it's going to cause a fuss. And I really do think with something as beloved and, yes, has a powerful resonating to people, this will probably get political. I have no doubt this is going to end up at least in some sort of Japanese diet meeting or something like that, where they're finally going to go, we have to do something. There has to be a stop put on this stuff. We can't have this happen anymore. There's now stealing something like this, and it's obvious. Whereas before, it's very difficult because it's generated through like absorbing a whole bunch of art, throwing it into a model. Again, this is specifically Ghibli. This is specifically Ghibli. Again, the model, you ask it for Ghibli. They know what you're asking for. You know what you're doing. Nobody's going to act stupid here. You know what you're doing. And it might finally bring some sort of, it's probably going to bring in some sort of laws. Again, like I said earlier, this might be that tipping point where finally they say, we got to take action. We've been talking about it for a long time. I know a lot of you don't understand what we're doing here, but this is what's going on. We have to do something. This is finally the tipping point, which is kind of counter to what I was kind of afraid of earlier when I was seeing a lot of new models popping up of actual animation. They're using this new model and whatnot to create animation. They're creating anime style animations. And I'm going, oh, here we go. We're going to have more Twins, Hina, whatever the hell that show is, coming in April, which is, again, like a fully AI, mostly fully AI anime series that's going to actually be released. That is an actual anime that's being released. We're going to get more of that. We're going to get more of that. There, a lot of these companies and producers are going to be like, oh, hey, look, we don't have to pay anybody to make anime anymore. But with something like this coming out along with it, it makes me believe that this might have an opposite effect. While this over here might be something that a lot of producers are going to go, hey, we can make an anime 100% with AI. We don't have to animate anything anymore. We don't have to pay any animators. Over here, we have, they're stealing Studio Ghibli's art. This has to stop. We're going to have to put a stop to this. I think that might be the push. Again, because this is Studio Ghibli. This is different. I guess the best way I can put it is this is finally something that resonates with people. Anytime before, nobody cared. Now it's something that people know. Now it's something that people resonate with. Don't touch my Ghibli. You've touched everything else, but not my Ghibli. Now it's personal. And again, I think that's finally going to push something to happen. But we'll have to wait and see. Again, like I said earlier, misquoting Hayao Miyazaki aside, I think this might be finally the time where we will get a quote. No doubt somebody's going to end up interviewing Miyazaki here soon, and they're going to ask him. They're going to ask him, what do you think of these, the distracted boyfriend meme being turned into the Studio Ghibli style? And he's going to go, what? I'd never heard of that. Here, let me show you. They can't do that. They can't do that. No, put a stop to it. Where's my lawyers? Shoot, even putting aside, even if Studio Ghibli doesn't do anything, there's a lot of other models that aren't as popular right now that people aren't posting about that's pretty much covering every single anime and manga art style. I mean, you got Gundam, you got Naruto, you got Dragon Ball. I mean, yeah, if anybody's going to kick up a fuss for using their art style, it's going to probably be them. Using Akira Toriyama's art style. I mean, again, putting aside even if Studio Ghibli themselves doesn't want to do something, this is going to possibly kick up a massive fuss for somebody. Somebody's going to want to take legal action. And again, it's easily going to get into the political scheme. I think they're going to finally kind of wake up to this stuff. We got to do something. We'll see though. We'll see though. I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think this stuff is kind of like whatever? This is not a big deal. Don't make a big deal out of this, or do you think this might be that tipping point? I think that again, that's really the question mark that I have because most cases with the AI art stuff, I'm like whatever, shrug. I'm not really I'm not really for or against it, but I'm more kind of curious about how the industry itself will react. I'm not really about the individual outrage of people. I'm more curious about how this will impact the industry and how the industry itself will respond. Because damn, a lot of studios and producers would love to be able to mimic that style and not have to pay a massive studio to learn the style itself and incorporate the style and pull it off the way that Ghibli does. Because Ghibli films make a lot of money. They would love to be able to mimic it. But will it be allowed? That's the massive question mark there. Would it be allowed? Would this be something that would end up getting them in hot water? We'll see. Let me know in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. Additionally, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe before you leave. Like this content, you want to support Tom more, I have links in the description below. Greatly appreciate it. Until next time, y'all take care.